Yes, I know, it's been some time since we looked at the latest Reolink cameras. Today we are going to look at Reolink RLC-810WA camera. This one is a bit different than all the other cameras that I covered this year, and that's because this one is wireless. We'll start in a couple of seconds. So far this year we've looked at the Reolink Duo 3 PoE camera, Reolink CX or Color X 810 camera, but now it's time to look at Reolink RLC-810WA camera. The W in the camera name stands for the Wi-Fi, but of course this camera can also be plugged in via the Ethernet. No, unfortunately it doesn't have PoE, so you either have to use it as a wireless camera while providing power, or you have to connect both power and the Ethernet cable. The good thing about this camera also is that it is using not just 2.4 GHz network for the Wi-Fi, but you can use also 5 GHz network, and it can improve on the speed and transfer of data. So why yet another Reolink camera on this channel? Just because I myself prefer PoE cameras, and I have mostly PoE cameras both here in my apartment but also in my summer house, that doesn't mean that you need to use PoE cameras. The biggest advantage of PoE cameras is, of course, one cable that transfers power to the camera and then data back and forth between the camera and VR or whatever system you're using. The biggest disadvantage of this one is that you need to have Ethernet cables connected from your camera up to wherever you have your network switch. And for some installation types this may not be possible. That's why Reolink always has a pair of cameras. One camera has Ethernet or PoE and the other one is Wi-Fi version. The A symbol in the names means AI. This camera also has internal AI capability, so it can detect if there is a person, animal or vehicle in the image. No, license plates cannot be read with this camera, but if you for example are using Home Assistant and you also install through HACS or through HACS LLM Vision, yes, you may also try and get the license plate from the image from this camera in Home Assistant and then push that to notification, or for example automate it in such a way that it will open the garage or your yard door. But we are jumping ahead. First, let's look at the unboxing and what you get inside the box. As always, you do get manual, you get stickers so you can notify people that are trying to break in your property that the property is under video surveillance. Plus also you have everything that you need to mount the camera. And that means that you have power supply with a short cable, 4 or 4.5 meter long cable, extension cable, and the camera itself. Plus of course everything you need to screw this in the wall, and you also have a drilling template. The only assemble needed for the camera is to mount the wireless antennas. There are two antennas on the back side, you screw them in and then you can also move them around, tilt them or position any way you like it. In terms of the installation on the wall, you need to drill the holes with the included drilling template, screw in the camera and attach the power cable. And that's more or less it. Unfortunately, I was doing that in the middle of the summer. I tried it on the first day, but it was simply too hot. Then I decided to wake up at 7 AM, go to my summer house and finish everything before 9 o'clock. Because I was replacing the old PoE camera with this new one, I had to cut off the connector, pull out the Ethernet cable, then I threaded through the same hole in the wall, both the power cable and Ethernet cable, just in case if I later on want to connect this camera with the Ethernet cable instead of wireless. In order to initialize the camera, you will need your mobile phone and of course the Reolink app. In the app, you click on a plus sign to add a new device, scan the barcode that is located on the bottom side of the camera, and the installation process should begin. After it has detected the camera, the only two things that you should do on the camera is A. Connect to the Wi-Fi network, and you have option to connect to either 2.4 or 5 GHz network, we already mentioned that. Next thing you need to do is specify the password for the admin account. And more or less this is it. And the camera will now be visible inside your Reolink app, and you can access it anywhere you are, not just on your local Wi-Fi network. Everything else for this camera also applies to the other cameras. The only difference is that yes, this camera is using Wi-Fi, so you can also change the Wi-Fi network. If you, for example, currently do not have 5 GHz network and you later add 5 GHz network, you can switch from 2.4 to 5 GHz by just selecting the SSID and typing the new password, and that's it. But we do not want to use this camera with just a Reolink app. And yes, Reolink app is great because you do not need to open any ports, anything. You can still access the camera, all the cameras that you have, from the app no matter where you are. But no, I also want to add it to my Synology and also Home Assistant. For this, there are also some other things that you need to do in the camera, and that is open up a couple of ports or options. In this case, I usually open up everything, and that is the RTSP, RTMP, HTTP, and also ONVIF. ONVIF setup I will be using with Synology, and the rest will be used inside Home Assistant. After you have enabled all the ports that you want to enable, at the same time in Home Assistant the new Reolink camera should pop up and you will be able to add it to Home Assistant. But we will look at the Home Assistant integration in just a little bit. For this, let's start first with the Synology. In the Synology, in the IP camera screen, click on Add New Camera, but of course you need to have adequate number of licenses. The system will start searching for the camera and it will list all the cameras that still haven't been acquired by the system and are available for the installation. Check that the IP address is correct, click on Next, select Server Storage, change the camera name if you want to change it, authenticate by typing the username and password, and click on Next. Then select either Quick Setup or Complete Setup. Let's go through Quick Setup. It will show you all the predefined settings, click Done, and the camera should be automatically added with all of the predefined settings, and that's it. But even if you go with the Quick Setup, I suggest that you go through all of the settings. Just to be safe, click on Load Configuration, and it should automatically load all the settings from the camera, from the ONVIF, test connection to see if the connection to the camera is working, and then just slowly go through all the other settings. For example, video, where you can select stream 1 or stream 2, if you want to use balanced stream or high quality stream, check the resolutions if they are okay, frame rates for both stream 1 and stream 2. If you need, in the security part, you can select privacy settings, set up advanced settings, for example audio or RTSP and RTP settings. I also go through the recording settings, where I specify the pre-recording time, post-recording time, how long to keep recordings in terms of days and also gigabytes. Check the schedule for the camera, in my case it's set up to continuous recording. Set up recording streams for continuous motion detection. If you have used to it, you can also set up dual recording. I usually do not set it up. And if you need, you can play with the advanced settings in recording section. Then you can set up live view. I usually set up live view to balanced because I don't want to kill my link, as I do not have that good link in my summer home. And more or less this is it. Now the camera should be available inside your Synology. I must apologize for the speed, although this is a low quality. Unfortunately, my upload speed of the link from the summer house is very slow, so it takes some time for everything to get loaded and buffered. And this here is image of the RLC-810WA camera over the 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi network. Yes, and unfortunately, a couple of dozen kilometers away over a very slow link by the Croatian Telecom. So I do apologize for the shuttering and the bumps in the image. It actually is really good. And this here is low quality image. Just imagine how high quality would look like. We'll come back a little bit later about the quality of image, see how it works in the night, and check some other neat stuff about it, but first let's add it to Home Assistant. If you haven't received notification that the new camera has been detected, all you actually need to do to add the Reolink camera is go to the Settings, Integrations, click on Add Integration, type in Reolink, and then just follow the process. If the camera has been automatically detected, you only need to click on Configure to configure the camera, where the same screen will pop up. What I always do is I always create a separate account for Synology and also Home Assistant, so that I don't mix the main admin account, which you should really take care of, that you do not share the data, have strong password, etc. And then, as I said, in Home Assistant I use Home Assistant specific account. If the camera was auto-detected, you just need to specify the username and password, and the host field should be pre-filled. If it's not, you just need to type in the IP address of the camera. And by the way, if you don't know what is the IP address of the camera, you can go to the Reolink app that you use to add the camera to your Wi-Fi network, click on cogwheel, click on the camera name, and then go to the network settings. There you will see the SSID of the network, you will see the IP address of the device, subnet, gateway, etc. etc. This is the front door camera, one device with 36 entities. If we click on it, we can see all of the entities that you have available for your automations, for the UI, and for whatever configuration options you want to change. For example, we have controls on the floodlight. Floodlight is currently on, but you can also turn it off. You can start and stop the siren if you want, but I do not want to annoy my neighbors. Then you have sensors for the animal, person, and vehicle detection, plus also if there is a motion or not. Motion can be, for example, leaves on the trees or branches on the trees, but it doesn't necessarily mean that if there is a motion that either animal, person, or vehicle was detected. That's why, for example, my log for the animals is empty, and on the other hand, I do have a lot of motion triggers, because it was windy today. Same goes for the vehicles, because there is no way for that staircase to have any vehicles on it, and maybe, just maybe, if somebody approaches the front door, you will get a person detection. Not maybe that it will detect person maybe, but maybe because nobody actually is currently there. I have enabled additional entities that were previously hidden, and these are the snapshots clear and fluent, where you can see the latest snapshot made by the camera of the specific event. For example, this one is clear, that's better quality, and this one is fluent, that's a little bit worse quality. Compare it to the Stream 1 or Stream 2 in the Synology, higher resolution versus lower resolution. And of course we have also streams, camera streams clear and fluent. Clear is of course better quality, and the fluent is lower quality but should work also on the lower bandwidth. Then we have configuration options. As with other Reolink cameras, we have sensitivity for the animal, person or vehicle detection. You can select what type of day-night mode you want. In my case this is automatic, but you can have color or black and white. Then you can enable email, FTP, and also siren on event. You can check if the camera is running the latest firmware. For the floodlight you can select off mode, schedule mode, or I leave it always at auto, brightness for the floodlight, motion sensitivity, push notifications, if you want to enable recording, if you want to enable audio recording, which I always enable because I want to have that video recording on my NVR or Synology, siren on event, and the volume for the siren. Plus we have 9 entities that are not shown. This one is used to restart the camera, delay for the animal, person or vehicle detection, day-night switch threshold, and then brightness, contrast, saturation and sharpness for the camera. Plus in diagnostics you can enable entity for the Wi-Fi signal. Click on cogwheel, enable, OK, update, and in about 30 to 40 seconds this entity will be populated with the data from the camera. Or if you add it to your UI, it should look something like this. This is the image from the RLC-810WA camera. And here I can enable, or in this case disable, the floodlight, enable or disable the infrared, check if there is any animal, person or vehicle in the image, and also manually start the siren. If you compare this camera with CX810 camera, which is this one here, you can see that the colors are more vivid. But I also have to warn you that the installation or location where I installed this camera is just a little bit too high. Currently it's around 3.5, maximum 4 meters. And this camera should work better if you lower it to, for example, 2.5, maximum 3 meters from the ground. But still, this is camera without any infrared or without floodlight enabled, and this one is currently with the infrared enabled and also floodlight. Or in Synology, it should look something like this. This is the image during the day, where colors are really vivid. comparing it with the CX810 and Reolink Duo 3 PoE. Both have really stunning images. Or if you look at the images during the night, this is CX810 camera during the night, Duo PoE 3, and wireless camera RLC-810WA. Once again, all of those streams are unfortunately low quality because, again, my link. While I was not able to capture any movement on that camera because neither I have been there since I installed the camera or any animals tried to open the front door, so here are the clips of, for example, deers, foxes, whatever animals going through my backyard. The big question here is, would I buy this camera? No, but that's a good thing because, as I said, I prefer PoE cameras. If I wouldn't need PoE camera or if I wouldn't be able to connect Ethernet cable between the camera and my switch, in that case I definitely would go with this one. But with Reolink you have free hands. You can go with the PoE, you can go with Ethernet, you can go with the wireless, you can go with any other standard that exists currently, be it 2.4 or 5 GHz. Also, you can go for cameras that need or require Reolink NVRs, but all of the cameras that I've shown you here, none of them require NVR from Reolink, and all of those cameras can be used with any other NVR that you're using. For example, QNAP, Synology, TerraMaster, the ones that have NVR, but also FreeGate and Home Assistant. The only thing that you need to do on the latest models, and I'm talking here about the latest cameras in the last 2 years, you need to enable ONVIF, RTSP and RTMP because those things or those settings are now disabled by default. Which again is really pretty simple because now you can also change those settings through the mobile app and you don't even need, for example, desktop app on your Linux, Mac or Windows machine to change those settings. In terms of installation, if we don't look at the length that you need to thread the cable for power or Ethernet through the wall and also drill the holes, everything you need to get the camera up and running can be done in less than 5 minutes. Or 10 minutes if you forget your glasses and you also type slowly. One additional benefit of the Reolink cameras is that you can also buy them through Amazon and also a Reolink website where they do keep local stock. I'm not sure about US, I would say yes, but they also have local stock here in the EU. I didn't mention one nice thing, but this is something that most of the Reolink cameras, at least those 810 or 800 and 500 series do have, is the SD card and also speaker. Some cameras support two-way audio where you can talk through the camera, others just have mic inside the camera, but all of the cameras or most of the cameras do have water protected casing with a slot for the SD card. That's an awesome way to keep recordings locally, but it also then allows you to create stunning time lapses. And if it's in a good position, you can really have an awesome time lapses of the sunsets or sunrises, or even sky nights, but that would be a bit harder. No matter what camera you go for from Reolink, and these are the 3 cameras that I've shown in this video, not physically but images from them, they really are all good cameras. They are all IP67 rated, all of them have mic and speaker for two-way audio, while Color X camera doesn't have infrared lights, all of them have spotlight, and they really are good cameras. If you are looking for a good camera, if you want a wireless camera, then this RLC-810WA may be the option for you. But don't forget to always check out the Reolink website, look at the promotions, discounts they have. Maybe there is some other camera that can suit your needs much better. For example, PTZ cameras or pan-tilt zoom cameras. I really do hope that you did find this video interesting, and if you did find it interesting, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And also, while you are already there, check that you are subscribed so you don't miss on the future video updates and of course the streams. If you have any kind of a comment or a question, if you are already using Reolink cameras, or if you have stopped using Reolink cameras because of the specific reason, please drop me down line in a comment section below. Especially if you are not using it, because I really would like to see what was the reason why you quit on the Reolink. And as always, before I end up the video, I really would like to say thanks to all those wonderful people that are supporting me and that have become my YouTube channel members. Thank you all for all of your support. But let's not forget each and every one of you who has watched, shared, commented and liked my videos. Thank you. If you too want to support the channel, you can do so by clicking the join button down below and becoming a YouTube channel member for only €2 or $2 per month. Or you can go to my merchandise store and get something there. Last but not least, you can always send me super thanks, and I will be super thankful for that. I'll be seeing you next time. Until then, bye bye and have fun.